Hey everyone, I start seeing some people joining us for the webinar. We will just take a minute or so to wait for some more people to join us, but bear with us, we will be starting very shortly. Let's give it just one more minute to allow even more participants to join us today. Okay, great. Shall we kick it off? I'm sure there will be even more people joining us later. But yes, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the event Wellbeing Recharged. I'm your host today, Esther. I'm head of Wellbeing Engagement here at WellHub and also a yoga instructor and a wellbeing coach. And we are here to talk about one of the most exciting aspects of well-being, setting goals, building healthy routines, and maintaining those healthy habits. And of course, also about how to embrace a winner's mindset. Stick around till the end for a chance to win a pair of Reebok trainers. So I'm incredibly excited to introduce our speakers today. We have Masa joining us from Fabulous. Fabulous is a leading app in healthy habits and routines. So welcome, Masa. And we have Faye joining us from the Reebok Fitness app. She's bringing her wealth of expertise in fitness and personal growth. Welcome, Faye. And we also have Erin here. She's also joining from the Reebok Fitness app. And at the end of our conversation, Erin will be taking you through a whistle-stop tour of the Reebok Fitness app. So, but for now, Faye and Masa will be the main speakers. So yes, thank you again for joining and welcome everyone. So let's jump in. I would love to start with some personal reflection, Masa and Faye. Masa, why don't we start with you? Can you recall a time when you set a well-being goal? How was that experience for you? Did you find it challenging? Did you achieve that goal?
Thank you, Esther. First of all, hello, everyone. My name is Masha, and I lead the coaching team at Fabulous. And I love this question because, well, the last well-being goal that I actually set for myself was around sleep. And this is quite interesting for me because it's my area of expertise. Other than being the coaching team lead, I specialize in sleep coaching. But it's interesting because sleep is also sometimes my personal challenge. So a couple of years ago, even though I was working already for many years as a sleep coach, I noticed that I was slipping into, again, irregular bedtime patterns because of work, because of late night screen time, and honestly thinking that I could get away with it because I am a sleep coach. But my goal was simple. I wanted to go to bed at the same time every night for 30 days. But what I realized quickly was that setting the goal was the easy part. The challenge was in the micro decisions. And these would be things like, do I scroll for another 20 minutes or do I commit to the wind down that I planned instead. So, what helped me and what might be useful for all of you participants here was reducing friction. And in my particular case, that would be things like I put my phone charger outside of my bedroom. I prepared my herbal tea in advance so that I could enjoy it in the evening. And I used a notepad next to my bed to put some random thoughts to offload them, basically. And by the end of the month, I wasn't just meeting my personal goal, I was shifting into a new identity or a renewed identity for me, which was somebody who respects their sleep as much as they respect their work. And I think I'm mentioning this because I think this mirrors what some of you and some of other members might experience, which is that goals look simple on paper, but when you're living them, the invisible habits around the goal are what make or break the process. So for me, I did achieve it, but not by being perfect every day. I achieved it by being flexible and forgiving myself on the off days. So I hope
Thank you
that.
so much for sharing that, Masha.
Mhm.
That was so insightful. And I particularly like this example because, people might think that, oh, you're the expert in sleep. This is your field of expertise. So
Right.
for sure, you're like mastering it. But I think that's like a common misperception. We may tend to think that, oh, well, these like people working in like health and well-being, or all these like people like proficient in like fitness and workout regimens, they have it easy. That's not the case. I think they are becoming actually the experts, the specialists, because they are working hard on it. They are bringing that intentionality
Yes.
into their lives. And based on what you were like sharing here, all the those little rituals that you built out, you carved out of your like normal, maybe like autopilot mode,
Hmm.
those really helped you just embrace that intention and focus on the end goal. And as you said, by the end, you embrace that whole like identity, so it became second nature for you
Absolutely.
to build up that bedtime routine. Yeah, that was very insightful. Thank you, Masha. Faye, how about you? What like fitness or well-being goal would you would you be keen to share with us, something that relates back to your like personal life, personal experiences? What did you learn? How was that process for you?
First of all, Marsha, that share, I related to it so much. And that's one thing I've really put my focus on in the last year, not thinking about a fitness goal, but what is my well-being goal? And understanding that things change. Yeah, we change, our body changes. And I understand that what I was able to do or what worked for me in my 20s doesn't work for me in my late 30s. I too struggle with sleep. And that's what I've been working on a lot at the moment. And everything has a knock-on effect. So, you know, when we're not having optimal sleep, that affects our energy levels. So I really focus on taking a 360 approach. And my goal was to tune in to what I need, get to know myself more and connect on a deeper level, meeting myself where I'm at and honoring what I truly need, as opposed to focusing on the exterior of what's my fitness goal? Go, go, go. Um, so I started off setting small, tiny goals, daily new rituals. For example, one thing I struggle with sometimes, even though we're fitness and well-being experts, is challenging for us as well to stay consistent. So I found training, I'm a night owl. Training in the evenings was always my thing. But then I would get tired if my sleep is not 100%. By the time the evening comes, I may be a bit more fatigued. So I have to adapt and change. I told myself I'm not a morning person, but we can condition ourselves to do what we want, I believe, so creating new habits. I started off, okay, let me do mid-morning, let's see how that goes. And just making small changes. But what I found was important, doing it compassionately without force and really taking day by day, this is my goal. But when I wake up, what is it I'm feeling today and what is it that I truly need? And slowly, when I'm meeting my needs, I'm able to stay more consistent. That's what's worked for me.
I love that, Faye. Thank you so much for sharing. I loved how you have like really like rooted yourself in who you are in the present moment, not thinking back to your like teens and 20s, but really understanding and embracing your your present being and acting from that, tapping into your own inner needs, the core of your inner being. What is it that you need? What is it that serves you on the day? And I like that example because like we sleep, I think we tend to put ourselves in boxes like, oh, no, I'm a morning person or I'm not a morning person. And we think that, okay, once I'm in that box, there is no way to come out of that box. But actually, we can really unbox ourselves based on what I'm like hearing from both of you and work through some like small changes, create some new routines and new rituals, and maybe not go like 180 degrees from one day to the next, but taking it step by step. Thank you, Faye, for sharing that. Let's talk about strategies. So both of you, both Masha and Faye, you have a wealth of experience working with clients. Faye, I know that a big part of achieving a goal is the belief that you can. So cultivating that ability, that confidence that you can tackle the challenge ahead. You can reach your objectives. What are your like recommended strategies and tactics when working with clients to kind of cultivate that confidence, cultivate that ability to believe in themselves?
I first of all like to help guide people into really figuring out what their why is, what's their reason, and ensure that they are making it very intentional, not setting a goal to appease anyone outside of themselves. So for me, that's the key thing, really having a in-depth discussion as to the why. Because when we lose further down the line, if we ever lose motivation, life is always life in. If we go back to our reason, then that can ignite our motivation again. And as I mentioned before, I've been in this industry for 12 years, and what I do now more so is really tuning into that individual's needs and lifestyle, not one size fits all. So it's about really establishing what that specific needs of the individual is and working around them instead of trying to force something that may not work, and be in room for being flexible. We may make a plan, but a plan may have to adapt certain times. So being open to that. And when it doesn't go to plan, I love to teach and guide people to have self-compassion, because what happens sometimes is that there is a kind of a defeated feeling when when even a small goal is not met, and that throwing the towel, or going around in a vicious cycle of making a start, feeling demotivated, and then not. So my key things is knowing your why, meeting yourself where you are at with compassion, and really believing in yourself. I love to empower people to believe in themselves. So I think those are my key things.
Thank you, Faye. As you were speaking, I was just reflecting on how we can find our why, because we have like just so much noise and friction coming our way in the external work, and we can be sidetracked by like external factors um, and external motivation. So how do you help people kind of like peel off the layers of the onion? So moving from like external whys, I want to shed XY pounds to look great on the beach, to like go beyond that, go beyond those like external drivers, and really help them find more of their intrinsic motivation, and helping them to tap into their real needs as opposed to the needs that they might be, perceiving coming from the external world.
Yeah, some people might not even know where to start with their why, or they think they know their why. And like you say, they're distracted by all these external expectations from society, from social media. For me, I like to ask a lot of questions. Finding out someone's why is about asking them why. Why do you want to look great in that bikini? Why? What's the important? What's the outcome of that? The why, the why, the why. Also, I like to share my own examples so you can see a little bit deeper. For example, my motivation has always been my gran. I lost my gran maybe five years ago from diabetes. It was hereditary. She was actually quite healthy and what have you, but she had a leg amputated because of that. And caring for or supporting her, she wanted to go upstairs, and I would say, Gran, don't worry, I'm going to carry you upstairs. And she'd be like, oh my gosh, you're so strong. And she'd be so impressed. And she'd be impressed by my training or the strength. And I would also think in the back of my mind, if in my grand's generation they were more focused on their fitness and well-being, maybe she would be a few steps ahead. She'd have more strength. So my why then became, it wasn't about the aesthetics, it was about keeping my physical independence for as long as possible, because aging is inevitable, but prevention is the best cure, and we can slow down the process of aging in a natural way. So that became my why. So I ask a lot of questions, and I like to share I like to share things that may open people's eyes to the benefits of truly looking after your internal health. Um, so challenging people's thought processes. And it's hard because, like you mentioned, social media, you know, look great on the beach, do this, tone up. So then I think people we're very surface level, we become more shallow and shallow and think about it's only about aesthetics. So to round up, I ask a lot of questions, and I share the benefits of what well-being can do, not just physically, but mentally, energetically, um, yeah, emotionally,
Yeah, so true.
all the leaves.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at the whole, like all the dimensions of our well-being, not just one isolated aspect. Yeah, and I also like found that your concept of adaptability and compassion, the importance of these aspects, very, very appealing, Faye. So yes, thank you so much for sharing. Masha, let's move on to you. Like you've been working as like a head coach at Fabulous for quite some time. I
Mhm.
imagine you have like coached multitude of like people, clients through their like well-being journeys. Um, how do you help your clients break down a big goal? It might be like a very motivating, very appealing goal, but still like a big goal into
Mhm.
smaller, manageable goals, and as
Mhm.
such into habits.
Right. Thank you for that question. When it comes to sustainable change with the clients that I work with, I always help them break down the goals into different layers. Those are short-term layers and long-term layers. And short-term layers can be things like daily or weekly actions that are concrete, tangible, and achievable. And it can be something like this week, I'll walk 15 minutes after lunch 3 times. And these are what I call momentum goals because they build confidence because they are actually doable. And they feed into exactly the identity that Faye was speaking about earlier. Long-term goals, on the other hand, they are about vision and identity again. So, for instance, Faye, I love this example that you gave about finding why movement is important. What is the deeper reason why? I've had a client recently who was dead set on their exercising goals, but they weren't really connected to the identity of why is it that it's moving to them. So just to echo what Faye said earlier, it's really important to ask oneself why, until you get to something that actually resonates for you. And not just on a mental level, but something that moves you emotionally enough to make a change. And with movement, specifically with this particular client, once they tapped into that, they actually want to be an energetic parent that can run after their kids and that can play with them with the same energy that they are giving out, or more or less the same energy, that started to have meaning for them. So that long-term vision is what inspires me and hopefully my clients when the short-term tasks feel tedious, because they will. Sometimes they do. And also, I would just say that the trick is to always connect the two. The daily actions fuels the bigger vision, but the vision also gives meaning to the daily actions. And without that, the short-term goals can feel pointless and the long-term vision can feel overwhelming.
I really like the connection that you drew between those two, because I think people usually start out with the big overarching, super motivating and inspiring goal, but then how do I get started? This is also overwhelming, and do I have the resources? Do I know what I need to do right now? And that can be a bit like paralyzing. So I really liked how you connected the dots between the short-term, more manageable, like day-to-day habits and goals, and sometimes it can feel like a chore, but it's still laddering up to that overarching like goal and dream to achieve.
Exactly. Yes. And there are other strategies that can help in this as well. And one of them, some of you might have seen in the Fabulous app if you already use it, which is to start ridiculously small, probably smaller than you would like. So for example, if you have a goal of meditating, and if you cannot currently meditate for 20 minutes, start with one mindful breath. That's it. Just one mindful breath could do the trick. Accountability in the form of an app, in the form of a buddy, in the form of anything that you can get your hands on absolutely helps. And thirdly, I would say to measure progress beyond the numbers. For example, of course, data that we collect about our progress matters, but often what's more motivating is how you feel. Like, really, how do you feel after each of these little actions that you took? Do you have more energy? Do you have better focus, improved mood? The more aware you are of all of the little things that are shifting in you, in your mind and in your body, the more successful every step will feel.
Yeah, I really like this like consistent concept of like self-inquiry coming through from both of you, Masha as well as Faye. And I think like that's my experience, my personal experience, that over time, as I embrace more and more healthy habits, as they become like routines and then they become rituals, I'm becoming more and more sensitive to those internal sensations. So I'm better placed at like picking up if something is out of balance on a given day or within a given hour. And then with that increased level of sensitivity, I can shift gears, I can shift my approach more quickly so that I don't wait until I'm feeling really, miserable.
Exactly.
Masha, tell us a bit more about how Fabulous can help with like goal setting and creating healthy habits, even like breaking down big goals into smaller goals.
So Fabulous in and of itself is not just a habit building app or not just a productivity app. We see ourselves as a companion on people's journey to change. And everything that Fabulous has built is based on behavioral science and coaching psychology. So as I mentioned before, Fabulous really geared down on helping people start with really tiny actions. These can be things like just starting with drinking water in the morning for the first full week of the app experience, or doing one stretch, or writing a gratitude note at the end of your day. These build momentum. For long-term goals, Fabulous specifically has content such as journeys, which are step-by-step programs on a myriad of topics that might be interesting for our members. These can be sleep, fitness, mindfulness, finding your values, working with specific relational issues, or even nutrition. And these keep our members engaged over weeks or up to a month, and not just days. So you have full content pieces that follow you through this journey. And one of the key points of Fabulous is also accountability. So it is built in. We have daily check-ins, reminders, streaks, all of which are accountability that you have outsourced to the app to help keep the momentum going. Also, we have reflection prompts woven into the content that help you tap into the deeper reason why that Faye was talking about. And as an add-on to Fabulous, we also have the one-on-one coaching program. So you can, if you need more support, you can also be coached by one of our coaches on the coaching team.
That's amazing. So Fabulous is really a strategic partner in like helping people like embrace healthier routines and make them turn into reality.
Absolutely. And for the most part, it focuses on meeting people exactly where they are. If you've never built a habit before or any kind of routine, let alone a ritual, we guide you through the basics. And also, if you're already advanced in habit building, we can help refine those routines. Yeah.
That's awesome. Masha, I'm always like hearing, listening to like experts talking about like habit building, and I hear about like various like lengths or time frames to build habits until they become second nature. And that can range from like 7 days to 21 days or 90 days. What's your view on that? What is it that's actually like realistic? When is it that habits start to stick and they start becoming effortless?
I am not a big fan of boxing things into days. I know it's, so to speak, very sexy to say you're going to build a habit in 21 days, and you might. But realistically, I personally believe that habits are built the moment you start creating a certain momentum. There's not a certain point where a habit is set in stone. As you see, I'm a sleep coach, and sometimes my sleep habits falter. I would honestly steer away from looking at goals through the lens of time, but rather feeling into the process of it, feeling into how it feels to create a new identity where you're showing up for yourself every day, where you're building new habits and seeing the small changes, rather than looking at when is this going to stick.
Yeah, no hard and fast rules here. Yes. And everyone is on their like individual path. Faye, I think you also mentioned this up front, how to make sure that everyone gets an individual and a personalized support, because there's no one size fits all. Super. I would love to talk about some of the common pitfalls and mistakes that people might be making on this journey. Faye, what are some of the common pitfalls that you have observed with your clients, and how do you help them tackle those situations? How do you like coach them through those like mistakes? You also mentioned like compassion in the beginning, so I would just love for you to elaborate a bit more on this topic.
Yeah, it's similar to what Masha was saying. I love that about the not being in box about the time. We all have this expectation. Often people are focused on the goal, on the result. When am I going to get it? And there's certain things that we're working towards. It's ongoing. Like the process of, or the goal of us becoming better humans, more mindful and what have you, we're never going to be perfect. It's always something we're working on. So people can often set very high expectations. I touched on it before. And then if they set this high expectation, then fall off the bandwagon, then they feel defeated or demotivated. So that's the biggest challenge I find. There's been some circumstances where clients they want to speak about their wins to me as a coach. Oh, I've done this, I've done that. But there'll be times where you hear silence because there may feel sometimes I know they feel judged. They may feel, oh, my coach is not going to be happy with me. And there's been many a times I've had to reassure, I am not here to judge you. I'm here to support you. This is what coaches are for. Is it you that is judging yourself? you know? So really making people see that let's be realistic, be more compassionate with yourself. Life is always life, and there'll always be curveballs. It doesn't matter how many times a client falls down, we're going to pick you up each and every time. You're going to pick yourself up. If it's 100 times, if it's forever, we're doing the same thing. It's fine. So that's been the biggest thing I've noticed in the 12 years of being a coach, is people feeling a certain way when they're not meeting that set goal and only want to celebrate the win. But there's a lot to learn when we fail, let's say. I don't even believe in failure so much, or when we fall off, or when we make a mistake. We learn more about ourselves. It's an opportunity to see, okay, um, how does that make me feel? Why? What showed up? What can I do differently? Um, it can teach you compassion, you know. And I always like to flip it. If they talk to themselves in a negative way, oh, I didn't do that. Oh, that's so bad. I say, would you say that to your best friend? Oh, you didn't show up. That's terrible. You know, so again, it goes back to the compassion. That's been the biggest pitfall, but we keep going.
Yeah, and that's why it's so helpful and so valuable to have like a supportive like guide on the side that can be a friend, that can be a coach, that can be a personal trainer, whatever like well-being area we are talking about. Because you're right, we can be so harsh with ourselves, so harsh in our judgments, in our own self-talk, and we would never speak in that way to a friend of ours who's in the same boat,
Mm.
same situation.
Yeah, I like to remind people, focus. Um, yeah, a friend said that to me one time. She caught me out speaking not so positively, and she turned to me and said, "Don't you dare say that about my friend." But she was talking about me. I said, "Yeah, that's you're right." Um, it- I know I repeat myself a little bit, but I just really want to reiterate, for just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. There's so much to learn in the process. And now when I set goals per se, I'm like, yes, I want to achieve that, but I'm not really that focused on I don't put all my focus and attachment and attention to that goal. It distracts me from the present moment. I just go, if I see myself getting overwhelmed thinking about, oh, that big goal and the time when am I going to reach it, it causes me overwhelm.
Mm.
So I just, like you mentioned before, Esther, bringing myself back to now. What's showing up for me now? How can I honor what I need
Mm.
now? And then the rest will follow. I focus on the now, and the rest will follow.
Yeah, that's so true. And also like focusing on the now and tapping into our inner needs. Sometimes that might result in us like shifting the goal. Maybe we find throughout that process on that journey that maybe the goal we set up front is not where we really want to go. Maybe that goal is evolving, and that's why it's so important to stay adaptable, to stay flexible, go through that own like learning journey about ourselves.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Faye. Masha, how about you? Um, what are the most common mistakes or errors or like challenges that you
Mhm.
have noticed coming up for your clients as they were working on like their well-being
Yeah.
journeys, like creating healthy habits, sticking with them?
hmm Well, some of the most common pitfalls that I've seen in clients with Fabulous is the all or nothing thinking. So often I see people missing, for example, one gym session that they committed to and then abandoning the plan altogether simply because of that one, so to speak, failure or the way that they see it as a failure. Uh, that can sometimes be connected to another pitfall, which is overloading too fast or trying too many things at once. So, for example, people try to change their diet or start exercising, meditating, journal, gratitude journal all at once, but they burn out within a week or two. And the reason for that is because it is too far removed from their current identity. The new identity that we are building with each new habit takes a little bit of time to build. And falling off the wagon, so to speak, is part of the process, much like Faye said. you're going to fall a million times and you're going to come back up with the help of compassionate support. I would just like to say, to add on to what Faye was saying, regarding that compassionate support, I feel like having compassionate support and an observer in one's process, whether it's a coach, even an app can sometimes help in this, or a friend, is also important to help one reflect on how far they've actually come. All of us have a positivity bias, but we also have a negativity bias, which is much stronger. Meaning we tend to look at the things that we haven't done yet, things that we still need to improve. The goalpost keeps moving, so sometimes we can fail to see how far we've actually come. So if you can introduce any kind of compassionate support or a compassionate observer into your life to let you know this is what you've accomplished, you might have just not stopped long enough to witness it, absolutely helps in strengthening that new identity that one is building. And I would just like to add that maybe another common pitfall would be relying exclusively on willpower. So whenever you start a new habit or a new routine, your motivation will be highest at the start, but it naturally drops. This is absolutely normal. But what is important here is to build different systems so that for example, when is your peak energy level for your day? Like Faye said, she's a night owl. Maybe her energy level peaks in the evening, for example. So it's good to have systems to load most of the heavy tasks in that part of the day. And other systems that are rooted in behavioral change that you can find also in the Fabulous app.
That's so helpful. And I think many of us here on this event, on this webinar, can relate to that all or nothing mentality, but also maybe starting with too many things, too many of the good things can actually backfire, because we might be losing that sense of sustainability. How can we sustain if we try to change too many things at one time, and then we still want that all or nothing? So we want to maintain everything, we want to just master everything, and then something falls through. There is a morning when I didn't do my meditation. Oh, well, then the whole day is like falling apart, because if I didn't do the meditation, then I failed for today. So I'm just not even gonna stick with my bedtime routine, and let alone the gym. I'm definitely not going to the gym because I already failed today with my meditation. So is that like taking it one step at a time, and then embracing compassion, being adaptable, celebrating every little win. Those are like very, very powerful. They might sound like very basic things, but actually in practice, they are paying off.
Absolutely, because that goal identity can be very alluring. So we can try to put in too many things at once. I keep forgetting who said do 1% better each day, something like this. I keep forgetting who is the who coined that phrase, but that's exactly what it's about. And an example of a fairly recent client was that he wanted to cut out sugar, but instead of going completely cold turkey, which of course backfires all the time, we focused on adding one natural fruit serving daily. So over time, the cravings for sugar, in this example, cravings for processed sugar reduced naturally. So these small value-driven steps were far more sustainable than any big bombastic goal that we do at the beginning.
I love that. I love that concept, like bringing in the new and the healthy, focusing more on that. The concept of crowding out as opposed to focusing on what we want to remove. Yeah, that's a very, very valuable and very rich conversation. Thank you so much. Masha, shall we do a visualization exercise for our audience?
Absolutely. So I wanted to share with you a short meditation / visualization that might help connect you with the person that you wish to be. So again, that future identity, I really want you to feel the emotion of this. So in order to begin, I invite you first of all to make yourself comfortable. If you need to wiggle in your seat, feel free to do so. You don't need to look at the screen. You can take this time to simply close your eyes. And depending on how you're sitting, I invite you to feel into the sitting bones on the seats, potentially even feeling the soles of the feet on the ground. And just take a couple of breaths to feel into the firm points of contact with the floor and with the chair, and sense the different sensations that are present in your body right now. You might have been so focused on our conversation that you haven't maybe paid attention to them, so notice them now. And bring your awareness to your breath by simply noting which parts of your body move most freely when you breathe. And as you track your breath, I want you to imagine that somewhere in front of your visual field, your future is unfolding. So look forward into that future. If you can, zoom into all of your tomorrows and allow them to come into crisp focus. See yourself. See how you could be if you followed through with all of your most ambitious plans. Now take a moment to imagine the life that you would lead if you allowed your good habits to snowball into meaningful behavior changes. Sense just everything that's coming up. The images, maybe how you would feel. How would you be different? It takes courage to project forward into the unknown and predict how your life could be. Focusing your attention on all your possible outcomes can be motivating, but it can also be painful. But it's humbling to realize that any future outcomes are created by your actions today, right now. And instead of becoming bogged down in any imagined failures that might come across your mind, allow that to fade into the background as optimism takes center stage. You are still only at the beginning of this process. So feel your strength return and your confidence soar as you whisper to yourself, there's still time for any change I want to introduce. There's still time for any change I want to introduce. To create that change in your life, you first need to envision your ideal self. So try to imagine yourself as you wish to be. Then rewind to plot the exact steps you must take to get there. When you see the direct consequences, both positive and negative, of your current behaviors, it helps to launch yourself into the future of your dreams. You are presented now with one inescapable fact. Your future will arrive. Impermanence is an inevitable side effect of existing. The world keeps on turning, the sun rises each morning and sets each evening again and again, regardless of what we are doing. All this change can be unsettling, but it also provides us with a wealth of wonderful opportunities. Regardless of what went wrong yesterday, last week, or even last year, we keep getting more chances. Every day is a reset, and we can choose to steer ourselves towards the goals and results that will shape our tomorrow. You are the boss of your life. You get to decide how to nourish, hydrate, and move your body. You get to decide which thoughts will motivate you and which you will choose to dismiss. And you get to decide who you will share your beautiful one life with. Your life isn't static, and that's why you will constantly set new intentions and commit to continuous self-improvement. Now sit a bit with some of the last images that were on your mind about who the future you will be, how you will feel, how you will move, what you will be surrounded with. And let that image permeate into you and see if it changed in any way how you're breathing, how you're sitting. And connect yourself again with the movements of your breath, feeling again into the firm contact with the chair and with the floor. Bring your awareness to your external environment to take in any sounds that are present in your space and outside of it. Notice any smells or tastes that might be present. And when you're ready, you're going to blink your eyes open. And before you return back to the screen, back to us, just give yourself a bit of a stretch. I truly hope that you connected a little bit more to the person you wish to be.
That was wonderful, Masha. Thank you. That was
You're
like
welcome.
really deep, but also so inspiring and empowering to step into that identity. And I'm a bit like speechless, as you can see. I think my brain is still processing the whole visualization exercise, but it has really given me some like firm grounds and motivations to start acting in the now, as opposed to waiting for that ideal day to come once.
Right.
So yes, thank you for that. And now I would like to hand it over to Erin. Yes, so we should have the screen share now. So Erin will take us through a whistle-stop tour of the Reebok Fitness app, what you can get access to and how it supports your well-being.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so just following up from kind of what Faye has been saying, we have the Reebok Fitness app, which includes video on demand workouts. Faye is one of our coaches on the app, so you can join her with different plans, different movements. We have everything from quick 5-minute blasts that can fit into your busy work schedule. And we also provide lots of different programs that range from 4 to 8 week fitness plans. And this just really makes you accountable. It gives you something to motivate you. And it means that if you're going to the gym, you don't go in and you don't know what you're going to do that day. It just gives you a plan to reach that long or short-term goal. We also have some GPS tracking in the app, which is great for all the outdoor enthusiasts. You can see your runs, your walks, your hikes, see what route you've taken, and then progress this over time to push yourself to a better pace or a further distance. And we also do have the wellness section. So we have some mental well-being, kind of guided meditations, breathwork sessions that range from different topics. We cover sleep, menopause, stress and anxiety, all guided from beginner to advanced. And we also have a selection of self-help tools. So you can read this in your own time, take away some advice, some tips on how to manage different challenging situations. That be boosting confidence, any kind of social challenges. There's something there for everyone that can hopefully help you overcome certain situations and grow as a person. We have a a nutrition section. So we launch new recipes every month. That includes all different diets, allergens. It's perfect for cooking at home or with the family and supporting those fitness and wellness goals. One of our main features in the app that I would like to dive into is our challenge section. So when you're maybe feeling a lack of motivation, our challenges are really great for setting those goals up, challenging yourself in a private challenge, or inviting friends, family, colleagues to join you. And everyone can track their progress on a shared leaderboard. And this just really helps you stay accountable, add a little bit of competitiveness to your challenges. And we also have specific Well Hub challenges in place where you could win different prizes as well. And the last feature that I'll mention is our social feature. So as our panelists have said, it's really great to provide that kind of compassionate support. You can post your workouts to your feed and comment on your friends' posts, keep them motivated, give them, a thumbs up to make sure that they see that they're doing hard work and that they're doing well, and just give that continued support. So everything is available on the Reebok Fitness app. You can join Faye in some of our fitness workouts, and yeah, we'll hope to see you there.
Well, that's amazing, Gary, and thank you so much for that overview. And it sounds like it all comes in like very handy for someone working on their like well-being, health and well-being, and all in one app. So it's really like catering to all needs. Thank you so much. And like everyone on this call, remember that you have access to the Reebok Fitness app as well as to Fabulous via WellHub. And also remember that your well-being journey is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And WellHub is your ally to help you guide you through that marathon. So whether it's about like creating healthy habits, you have Fabulous at your fingertips, or if you would like to build up like a meditation, fitness routine and get access to a lot of like recipes, even if you have some dietary, special dietary requirements, the Reebok Fitness app is there for you. And WellHub connects you to thousands of like partners, including in-person gyms, studios, as well as premium well-being apps and meditation like specialists and sleep coaches and nutrition coaches. And we are continuously expanding our partner network. So for example, our latest addition when it comes to in-person partners is the gym group. So the gym group joined the WellHub network a short while ago with 190 locations across the UK with 24/7 access, with high rock stations, top of the art gym equipment and fitness classes. So be sure to check it out on the WellHub app. Now let's have a quick look if we have any questions. So if you have like any questions, still you can take some time now to pop your questions into the Q&A or the chat functions, and our experts will be able to answer your questions. I can't see any questions right now, so maybe everything was like crystal clear. Thanks to our expert speakers. Just waiting for 1 second to see if there are any more questions coming through. But if not, then Faye and Masha and Erin, thank you so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed our conversation. And I do hope that it was also useful for our audience and they will be walking away with some like tangible, actionable strategies as well as tips to start or continue their well-being journey. And thank you very much for everyone for your attendance today. And I wish you a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.